right over here. We'll make room for you here. And I got three different things going on. So let's make sure we're talking about okay, thanks.
Controversial bills.
The Senate will come to order.
24, Senate Bill 5.
Please excuse Senator Kafalas. Message from the House.
April 15, 2014, Madam President, the House has adopted the first report of the First Conference Committee on House Bill 1193 as printed in House Journal, April 7th, pages 840 to 841, and has repassed the bill as amended. The House has adopted the first report of the First Conference Committee on House Bill 1336 as printed in House Journal, April 14th, pages 971 to 984, and has repassed the bill as amended. The House has adopted the first report of the First Conference Committee on House Bill 1342 as printed in the House Journal, April 14th, pages 984 and 985, and has repassed the bill as amended. The House has adopted the first report of the First Conference Committee on Senate Bill 131 as printed in House Journal, April 10th, pages 950 and 951, and has repassed the bill as amended. The bill is returned herewith.
Introduction of bills.
House Bill 1012 by Representatives Tyler and Giroux and Senator Kafalas concerning income tax credits that promote investment in Colorado advanced industries and in connection therewith making and reducing appropriations.
Finance.
House Bill 1023 by Representative Lee and Senator Ulibarri concerning the provision of social workers to juveniles and in connection therewith making and reducing appropriations.
Judiciary.
House Bill 1032 by Representative Kagan and Senator Guzman concerning the provision of defense counsel to juvenile offenders and in connection therewith making and reducing appropriations.
Judiciary.
House Bill 1085 by Representative Fields and Senator Zenzinger concerning adult education and in connection therewith creating the Adult Education and Literacy Grant Program to provide state monies for adult education programs that participate in workforce development partnerships and making and reducing appropriations.
Education.
House Bill 1096 by Representative Vigil and Senator Schwartz concerning an underfunded courthouse facilities grant program and in connection therewith making and reducing appropriations.
Judiciary.
House Bill 1124 by Representative Salazar and Senator Toktrop concerning in-state tuition classification for American Indians from tribes with historical ties to Colorado and in connection therewith making and reducing appropriations.
Education.
House Bill 1156 by Representative Moreno and Senator Ulibarri concerning extending the age of eligibility for the Child Nutrition Lunch School Protection Program and in connection therewith making and reducing appropriations.
Education.
House Bill 1202 by Representative Scott and Senators Todd and Sheffel concerning a study of the accountability requirements for school districts for which the State Board of Education may waive statewide testing requirements and in connection therewith making and reducing appropriations.
Education.
House Bill 1276 by Representative Primavera and Senator Hodge concerning instruction in cardiopulmonary resuscitation in public schools and in connection therewith making and reducing appropriations.
Education. Round 1276, Health and Human Services.
House Bill 1300 by Representatives Garcia and Duran and Senator Stedman concerning a 2014-15 state fiscal year general fund transfer to the Colorado State Fair Authority Cash Fund to support the state fair's programs with the state's 4-H clubs and the Colorado Association of the National Future Farmers of America organization and in connection therewith reducing an appropriation.
Agriculture, Natural Resources, and Energy.
House Bill 1303 by Representative Scott and Senator Schwartz concerning the receipt of public testimony from remote locations around the state by legislative committees and in connection therewith making and reducing appropriations.
State Veterans and Military Affairs.
House Bill 1309 by Representative Gardner and Senator Stedman concerning repurposing the Day Surgery Center, the Denver Reception and Diagnostic Center into an auxiliary medical facility.
Health and Human Services.
House Bill 1315 by Representative Gardner and Senator Sheffel concerning the enactment of certain model acts adopted by the National Association of Insurance Commissioners and in connection therewith enacting the Credit for Reinsurance Model Act and the portion of the Insurer Receivership Model Act that governs netting agreements.
Business, Labor, and Technology.
House Bill 1326 by Representatives Primavera and Scott and Senator Hodge concerning tax incentives for alternative fuel trucks and in connection therewith making an appropriation.
Finance.
House Bill 1347 by Representative Court and Senator Newell concerning statutorily established time periods that are multiples of 7 days.
Judiciary.
House Bill 1348 by Representative Ferrandino and Senator Heath concerning an extension of the effective date of the amended retail sales tax definition adopted in House Bill 13-1295 to take effect only if Congress enacts an act that authorizes the states to require certain retailers to pay, collect, or remit state or local sales taxes.
Finance. General orders, second reading of bills. Senator Schwartz. You've heard the motion for the Senate to re-resolve into a committee of the whole for purpose of considering general order second reading of bills. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Ayes have it. The Senate will re-resolve to a committee of the whole for purpose of considering general order second reading of bills calendar, and Senator Schwartz will take the chair. I'll read this one.
The committee will come to order and the court will is relaxed. Mr. Majors. Oh, Senator Heath.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think, colleagues, as you heard, Senator Kafalis was excused. He went home ill, and so I'm going to lay over a number of bills, and so you all will have a little idea. I'll have to do it as we go, but for right now, we were in the midst of discussing Senate Bill 133. We're going to lay that over.
And Senator.
And I will move that in 1 second. And then just so you know, we're also going to lay over Senate Bill 124, Senate Bill 5, and Senate Bill 175. And I know we have a number of people in the gallery that are here for a number of these bills. So if you are here for any of those bills, just to let everyone here know what we will be hearing and what we will not be hearing. And again, we will not be hearing, for everybody's plans, Senate Bill 133, Senate Bill 124, Senate Bill 5, and Senate Bill 175. And so that, Madam Chair, I will officially move that we lay over Senate Bill 133 until tomorrow.
Senator Heath, if you might lay that over as amended.
Yes, excuse me, lay over it as amended until tomorrow, April 16th.
The motion before us is to lay over Senate Bill 133 as amended. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed? 133 is laid over till tomorrow. Senator Heath? Senator Heath, and if you'll repeat your motion to lay over Senate Bill 124, Senate Bill 5, and Senate Bill 175, and then
Thanks.
Senator Heath.
So, Madam Chair, I will also move that we lay over Senate Bill 124, Senate Bill 5, and Senate Bill 175.
The motion before us is to lay
Excuse me,
over,
until tomorrow, April 16th.
to lay over until tomorrow, April 16th. Senate Bill 124, Senate Bill 5, Senate Bill 175. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. The bills are laid over until tomorrow. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to Senate Bill 127?
Senate Bill 127 by Senator Roberts and Representative Dorr, concerning statewide radio communications in connection therewith, directing the Department of Public Safety to perform a communications needs assessment and recreating the Consolidated Communications System Authority as a new standing public safety communications subcommittee under the Homeland Security and All Hazards Senior Advisory Committee in the Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Management in that department.
Senator Roberts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Senate Bill 127 and the Appropriations Committee report and the Judiciary Committee report.
Who did the Judiciary Committee report?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Judiciary Committee report had to do with making an amendment related to the number of members on the Communications Commission Subcommittee.
Is there any further discussion of the Judiciary Committee report? Seeing none, all those in favor of adopting the Judiciary Committee report, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. The Judiciary Committee report has been adopted. To the Appropriations Committee report,
Thank you.
Senator Roberts?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. The Appropriations Committee report is just providing for the funding for this bill. And I ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion in the Appropriations Committee report? Seeing none, all those in favor of adoption of the Appropriation Committee's report, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. The report is adopted. Mr. Majors, there is an amendment on the desk. Would you please read Amendment 2?
Amendment L002 to Senate Bill 127 by Senator Roberts, strike the Judiciary Committee.
Senator Roberts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. L002 actually replaces the amendment from Judiciary Committee and further details some amendments related to the composition of that communication subcommittee I was mentioning.
Senator Roberts, would you move Amendment 2?
I move L002.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion of Amendment 2? Senator Roberts?
I ask for the adoption of L002.
Is there any further discussion of Amendment L002? Seeing none, all those in favor of adoption of Amendment L002, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say no. Amendment 2 is adopted. To the bill, Senator Roberts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I believe I moved Senate Bill 127, but in the event I neglected, I move Senate Bill 127.
You had moved it.
Thank you.
It was a while ago. Continue.
Members, basically what this does is it addresses our interoperability of our statewide radio system. Essentially, the bill provides for a needs assessment and a business plan to be completed by the end of this year, December of this year, so that we can reconcile the communications, emergency radio communication glitches that we've experienced as a state before. We have strong support from many of the stakeholders, really all the stakeholders I'm aware of, through a stakeholder process that Director Klein, Kevin Klein, in the administration carried out. We have a letter of support from the Consolidated Communications Network of Colorado. This is essential for whether it is wildfire, flood, school shootings, theater shootings. It's critical that our first responders be able to talk with each other, and I urge your support of the bill.
Senator Stedman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And colleagues, I urge an aye vote on Senate Bill 127. The state of the digital trunk radio system is something the Joint Budget Committee has been discussing for quite some time. We have a JBC bill coming through, making some resource commitments to the state's portion of this. And as we were discussing this, Senate Bill 127 was also brought to our attention, and we feel like this is really a great complement to some of the efforts the JBC is doing to make clear our state commitment to the maintenance of this system. And so for that reason, we included a placeholder in our budget package this year to support the appropriations that are now added to this bill. And I want to thank Senator Roberts for her work on this. I know it's very important in her district. It's important statewide, and that's why the Budget Committee did prioritize this, and I would urge your support for Senate Bill 127.
Senator Jones.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a question for the sponsor. This is a great bill, great idea, the interoperability to keep our first responders safe. And on page 6, line 5 and 6, it directs this group to make recommendations, including the bandwidth needed for present and future emergency communications. Boulder County is very interested in keeping their VHF communications. A lot of people have gone to 800 megahertz, which for a number of reasons they don't want to do, in part because people can't hear with the terrain. And I just want to make sure that they're open to keeping those bandwidths that the locals want and work on the ability to communicate between the systems, which I understand they can do.
Senator Roberts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I can assure you, just because the interoperability between federal responders as well as local and state responders need to be kept whole. So I know that we're talking about VHF and 800 megahertz, and working with the local governments who've gone a particular direction. We want statewide interoperability, and so I feel very comfortable assuring you that that's true.
Thank you.
Is there any further discussion of Senate Bill? Senator Jones.
I just want to add, thank you, Madam Chair, ask for an aye vote. This is a great thing. Having been in this situation before, without interoperability, it is not good, and we need to work on this so that everybody can talk to one another and things are efficient and people don't get hurt. So I urge an aye vote.
Senator Roberts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I renew my motion for the adoption of Senate Bill 127 on second reading.
Seeing no further discussion, the motion before us is the adoption of Senate Bill 127. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Senate Bill 127 is adopted. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to Senate Bill 87?
Senate Bill 87 by Senator Ulibarri and Representative Fields concerning issuance of identification cards to people who are lawfully present in the United States but may have difficulty with certain documentary evidence.
Senator Ulibarri.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Senate Bill 87, the Health and Human Services Committee report, and the Appropriations Committee report.
Proper motion to the Health and Human Services report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Health and Human Services Committee report struck most of the bill, but kept in place a reporting requirement around exceptions processing. The bill speaks to the process that the Department of Revenue, specifically the Division of Motor Vehicles, uses to grant licenses or ID card. Well, let me correct that, actually ID cards to those folks who are lawfully present but who may not have the right documentary evidence to prove that they are lawfully present or U.S. citizens. This is especially a big concern for seniors who may not have an original birth certificate because they were born in the San Luis Valley. They may have a baptismal certificate or something else. It's challenging for them to get an original birth certificate. What the Health and Human Services Committee report did is take out exceptions processing, largely because the Joint Budget Committee is dealing with that issue in another bill, and maintains the reporting requirements to ensure that that process is actually assisting seniors and others who need the help to get their ID cards.
Further discussion? Further discussion of the Health and Human Services report. Seeing no further discussion of the Health and Human Services report, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The report is adopted. To the Appropriations Committee report. Senator Ulibarri.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Appropriations Committee report adds the appropriation clause.
Is there any further discussion of the Appropriation Committee report? Seeing none, the motion before us is the adoption of the Appropriations Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. The report is adopted. To the bill, Senator Ulibarri.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 87 was born from the Economic Opportunity Poverty Reduction Task Force, specifically with our work working with individuals who have gone through a very challenging process of trying to secure an ID card, especially seniors who are having difficulty getting an original birth certificate. The challenge has been that to get an original birth certificate, you need some other proof of identity. And if you were born in a small rural town and you didn't get an original birth certificate, you have to prove something else. And usually those documents require an original birth certificate. So you need a passport, but you can't get a passport without an original birth certificate. And so it's somewhat of a circular loop. The Department of Revenue and the Division of Motor Vehicles has what they call exceptions processing, where they can go through and verify documents and work through a person's individual case. This bill, as it remains intact now, deals specifically with reporting out about how that is working. As I stated before, the Health and Human Service Committee report took out the other requirements around exceptions processing because it's a project that the Joint Budget Committee is taking on. Right now, there's only one location, and that's in Lakewood. The JBC bill is designed to actually allow for other exceptions processing throughout the state, so someone from Grand Junction doesn't have to travel to Lakewood to actually go through that process in person. I also have an amendment that I'm going to put on the desk now.
There is amendment on the Mr. Majors, would you please read Amendment L009?
Amendment L009 to Senate Bill 87 by Senator Ulibarri. Amendment printed bill page.
Senator Ulibarri.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Amendment 9 strikes out a
Would you move
portion.
Amendment 9, please?
I move L009.
Thank you.
L009 strikes out a portion of the bill that's continued to dictate rules around exceptions processing because it's being dealt with in another bill. We think it's more appropriate to have it in that bill, the conversation in that bill, not necessarily in this bill.
Is there any discussion of Amendment 9? Seeing none, the motion before us is the adoption of Amendment 9. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Amendment 9 is adopted. To the bill, Senator Ulibarri.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill received strong bipartisan support in both committees, and I think goes a long way to ensuring that folks can get access to Colorado state-issued ID cards, even if they don't have the right documentation. And I think the other part that's important is that there are some rules that were in statute that we've tried to clear up, especially for seniors who may have documents that were misspelled by one entity or another. This allows them to go through clarifying those spelling errors. For example, Jesse, J-E-S-S-E versus J-E-S-S-I-E, that they would have the ability to go through and do that. Also, for those seniors who are trying to get an ID card, they will have the ability to actually go they'll be required to go get their fingerprints checked, as is standard procedure for all ID cards. But many seniors, especially those in the 80s, may not have a readable fingerprint, so they can go through another name check, background check, which is something that they have to do anyway, so this authorizes that. It's good policy to ensure that our community members can get access to IDs that they need for essential services.
Further discussion, Senator Stedman?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and colleagues, I rise in support of Senate Bill 87. As the sponsor referenced, the Joint Budget Committee has been working this year on legislation looking at the fee structure that supports the DMV and the whole process of issuing identity documents. And we have a bill that was actually just introduced yesterday, Senate Bill 194, that's sponsored by the Joint Budget Committee. that we included a placeholder in this year's budget package for, because we are adding additional FTE to the Department of Revenue and the Division of Motor Vehicles to support the expansion of exceptions processing functions so that it is more accessible geographically to people around the state. And I appreciate the fact that Senator Ulibarri has yielded to the JBC bill, wisely letting the JBC carry the bill with the appropriation and the FTE, I suppose. But this bill is still a great complement to it, and I'm appreciative of his work on this and glad that we're taking care of this issue this year, so I ask for an aye vote.
Further discussion of Senate Bill 87? Senator Rivera.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just had a question of the bill sponsor. On this bill, there are two sections, and I see there was a bunch of strikeout here, but the main question I have is this for bill applicable to people of any age, or those that are at least 70 years old, and the bill, the portion that says 50 years of age and veterans of the armed forces. I'd just like a clarification on that, please.
Senator Ulibarri.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to the good senator from Pueblo for the question. The specific requirements of exceptions processing were removed from the bill, specifically the age and military status, to be dealt with in another bill. And so what this does is just require a report at this point of that exceptions processing. It also gives the department the ability to promulgate rules about how they do exceptions processing. And so this isn't specific to the seniors or veterans at this point, because this doesn't dictate the rules of exceptions processing.
Senator Rivera.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So since it's not specific to folks, again, the veterans and the 70 and so on, this bill, as far as being able to apply for an identification card issued by the state, anybody of any age could then go in and apply, provided that they follow the rules that will be in the other bill that's coming up?
Senator Ulibarri.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the way the exceptions processing works, it's if you are someone who has lawful presence in the state of Colorado and cannot get access to an original birth certificate. So it would be incredibly, actually, I don't think I've heard of any cases where someone under the age of 70 has been challenged with that situation. But generally for folks who were born older, where it's difficult to get access to an original birth certificate because the documents weren't maintained properly, this is why there's a larger senior focus, but it's not explicitly stated in the bill at this point.
Seeing no further discussion, the motion before us is the adoption of Senate Bill 87. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Senate Bill 87 is adopted. Mr. Majors, would you please read Senate Bill 2?
Senate Bill 2 by Senators Carroll and Cadman and Representatives Ferrandino and Del Grosso concerning transferring the Safe to Tell program to the Department of Law.
Senator Carroll.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We move Senate Bill 2 in the Appropriations Committee report.
To the Appropriation Committee report.
The Appropriations Committee added the appropriations clause, which among other things allows us to take safe to text from a successful Jeffco project to be available in all 64 counties. Would ask for an aye vote on the Appropriations Committee.
Further discussion of the Appropriation Committee report? Seeing none, the motion before us is the adoption of the Appropriation Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Appropriation Committee report is adopted. To the bill, Senator Carroll, Senator Cadman.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, members. While this could have gone on consent calendar, we did want to take a moment, given the importance and the work of the Safe to Tell program, just to personally reiterate the success of this program as far as detecting and preventing suicides, planned school attacks, a variety of different instances. And the issue, as you can imagine, is often one of peer pressure concerns with young people. What we have are thousands of incidents intervened and prevented over the course of the time that we've had. And the data speaks for itself. Mostly, I just want to use my moment at the well to encourage any of you who know young people and all the young people in your community, if they ever see or hear anything, before almost every tragedy, someone else knows. And so anything and everything we can do to take back to our districts and our communities to share with the young people that it is a safe, anonymous hotline. If anyone sees or hears of anything that would be a danger to themselves or others, please get the word out about the Safe to Tell program. There is anonymous reporting available online, by text now, over the internet, by telephone, and so we're really meeting young people with where they're at. For the greater public safety of all of us, and would respectfully urge an aye vote.
Senator Kaplan.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I appreciate the work on this and the members' support, as well as obviously the support and promotion of this with the President. 9,000 tips in just over 10 years, the majority of which included bullying at 2,200, drugs and alcohol 13,700, and threats of suicide over 1,300. Threats of violence, 800, sexually related crimes, 470, harassment, 460, and the list goes on and on. We actually have an opportunity to put into statute something that works, the pilot program that's been run by others for over 10 years. We are definitely the beneficiaries of a lifetime investment by those who came before us. If you see something, say something. This is a pronouncement that you see in mass transit areas in a lot of major cities, because they know, letting folks know when there's a threat out there provides an opportunity to reduce or eliminate that threat. Having kids in school now, I've experienced this myself when I've asked my kids, why don't they, when they come home with a story, I say, did you tell someone? They said, no. I said, why not? And they said, it doesn't really matter what time of day it is, the walls have ears. If you go to the principal's office or you seek out administrative help, somebody sees you do that. What this provides is an anonymous channel for letting folks know that there's something of concern happening in their school, in their parking lot, on their way to or from, at the bus stop, someplace in their travels as they're going to or from our schools. This program works. It's proven itself, and I think it's incumbent upon us to support this program going forward.
Is there further discussion? Senator Newell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to lend my voice of support on the Safe to Tell program. In our own area, in my own district, the school districts have really appreciated this. The school resource officers have appreciated this, and the kids have also appreciated it. To have somewhere that is anonymous makes them feel comfortable, and it also drives behavior for their adult behavior in making sure that they have their part in a safe community. And I just wanted to lend my support to the bill, and thank you for the bill sponsors.
Is there further discussion of Senate Bill 2? Seeing none. The motion before us is the adoption of Senate Bill 2. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Senate Bill 2 is adopted. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to Senate Bill 73? Oh, Senate Bill 73, yes.
Senate Bill 73 by Senator John and Representative Giroux, concerning the state income tax credit for the environmental remediation of contaminated land in the state.
Senator John.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I move Senate Bill 73 and the committee reports to Senate Bill 73 on appropriations and business, labor, and technology.
To the Business, Labor, and Technology report, Senator John.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And so that we worked with the Department of DORA and needed to make an amendment so that they would have the ability to talk to other agencies and people that would have an interest in this project, in the project. So we needed to make sure that we put an amendment in for that. And then, so it gives the executive director the authority to talk to other departments. And then we also wrote in there that any person who has claimed credit or who may be eligible to claim a tax credit for the transfer part may petition the Department of Revenue, and it's all kind of legal jargon that we had to put in there. So basically it's so that one department can talk to the other department.
Is there further discussion of the Business, Labor, and Technology Report? Seeing none, the motion before us is the adoption of the Business, Labor, and Technology Report. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. The Business, Labor, and Technology Report is adopted. To the Appropriations Committee report, Senator John.
And the Appropriations Committee obviously appropriated the funding to go with that.
Is there any further discussion of the Appropriations Committee report? Seeing none, all those in favor of the Appropriation Committee report, please say aye. Those opposed say no. The committee report is adopted. To the bill, Senator John.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And colleagues, I think most of you are probably tired of hearing me talk to you about the Brownfield bill that I am the most excited about. Started this process last May, so a whole year ago, almost a year ago. It's in response to the needs of the real estate community that this legislation actually started in, the program actually started in 1994. It was the voluntary cleanup and redevelopment program. And so it was actually started in 1994, and it's run through CDPHE, the department. In 2000, the legislature passed another bill that authorized the state tax credits for private sector environmental cleanups conducted under the voluntary program. To qualify, however, and this was one of the things that we changed in this bill because it was very important that our rural areas be able to participate. In the original legislation, it had to be a population of over 10,000, so it cut out a lot of the rural areas, which we have now put back in here because that's an area that probably benefits the most greatly from this tax credit and getting redevelopment and the contaminated sites cleaned up so that they can be redeveloped. So it not only authorizes the Brownfield tax credit to be reauthorized, but it improves it. The previous tax credit was only available within those communities, and that was a drawback. It allows the taxpayer to take a credit against state income taxes for any approved environmental remediation of contaminated properties. You know, so often you have contaminated properties that just sit because, especially in the small communities, they just cannot afford to clean them up. These are not the serious contaminated properties which would go under the Superfund, and it has nothing to do with that. This is completely voluntary and under the state. So that's why we brought it. We have worked with everyone from the environmental people to the through attorneys, through the community members, through the developers and the real estate people to put this bill together. So that is the bill. I'm very excited to bring it to you finally and ask for an aye vote.
Further discussion of Senate Bill 73, Senator Jones.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd also ask for an aye vote. Members, it's not only costly to clean these up, they have liability that runs with them until you get them clean enough. It's not the Superfund, it's not the CERCLA, it's the so-called RCRA, Resource Conservation Reclamation Act, typically are these properties. And whoever owns them has the liability for them. And to get out from underneath that issue, you have to clean them up. And so this money will help them clean them up. And a lot of these are situated in areas that are inside towns, they're infill, and provide all sorts of new opportunities for places that hadn't had these opportunities before. And by giving a bit of an incentive, we can push them along and get more of these projects done, get more of these places cleaned up, and it's a win-win. It's jobs, it's a cleaner environment, and more opportunities to go out and do other things that are at these locations. So I ask for a yes vote.
Thank you. Further discussion on Senate Bill 73? Senator Rivera. Senator Rivera.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I rise in support of this bill. I was in the committee that heard testimony on the bill, and I believe that it is a good way to develop some of these blighted neighborhoods that have problems with contamination and that, and do it in such a way that can be done relatively simply, I guess if you could say that, and at a less cost to the folks and relatively quickly. So I am a supporter of this bill.
Further discussion, Senator John.
And in closing, I will just say very quickly that one of the things that has been the most fun with this bill is the fact that it can do so many neighborhood revitalizations. Instead of doing the sprawl and growing out and out to do the building, they're actually taking properties and projects that are in to revitalize neighborhoods that have been severely contaminated with asbestos, just all the contaminants that you might come across. So that's probably the biggest reason that it helps the rural areas as well as the metro area too. But it's definitely for neighborhood revitalization. With that, I ask for a yes vote on Senate Bill 73.
See no further discussion of Senate Bill 73. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Senate Bill 73 is adopted. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move we rise and report.
The motion before the body is to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. The ayes have it. The committee will rise and report.
The Senate will come back to order. Senator Schwartz.
And thank you, Madam President. The committee has met, had a number of bills under considerations. Mr. Majors, would you please read the report?
April 15, 2014, Madam President, your committee of the whole being such reports that in consideration the following tax bills being second reading thereof makes following recommendations thereon. Senate Bills 168, 173, 174 as amended, 167 as amended, 166 as amended, 157 as amended, 150 as amended, 144 as amended, 127 as amended, 87 as amended, 2 as amended, 73 as amended, passed on second reading and ordered and gross, placed on the counter for third reading and final passage. House Bills 1345 as amended, 1123 as amended, 1290 as amended, 1017 as amended, passed on second reading and ordered revised, placed on the counter for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 133 is amended, Senate Bill 124, Senate Bill 5, Senate Bill 175, laid over until April 16, 2014, retaining their place on the calendar. House Bill 1285 is amended, lost on second reading.
Senator Schwartz. Senator Schwartz.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for the adoption of the report.
Any discussion? There is an amendment on the desk. Mr. Majors, would you please read Committee of the Whole Amendment 1?
Committee of the Whole Amendment 1 to House Bill 1123. Senator Brophy moved to the report of the Committee of the Whole to show that the following amendment to House Bill 1123 did pass. Amend re-engross bill, page 5, after line 21, insert section 5. The following rules of the Air Quality Control Commission of the Department of Public Health and Environment are repealed effective May 15, 2014. Roman numeral 1, concerning standards of performance for new crude oil and natural gas production, transmission, and distribution.
Thank you, Madam President. I move Committee of the Whole Amendment 1. Pay attention, because you didn't see this earlier today. I was meeting with some other folks when the good senator from Denver moved my bill for me. What this bill does, or what this amendment does, is, now this is the rule review bill. And so we use this bill to strike rules that are in conflict with statute or beyond legislative intent. And so what this amendment does is it strikes 2 new rules that were promulgated this year by the Air Quality Control Commission pertaining to ozone and methane gas mitigation and capture by the oil and gas industry. And I'll make 3 points about the ozone-related bill. First off, it's a statewide air quality regulation, which I believe exceeds both legislative intent and authority of the Air Quality Control Commission, because there is no ozone problem outside of the attainment area, where a handful of monitors on rare occasions record high ozone levels. This rule applies statewide, so it applies in Yuma County and in Mesa County, and therefore I believe is outside of the authority of the Air Quality Control Commission and beyond legislative intent. And it constitutes an undue economic burden, which is the third reason you should oppose the ozone rule on particularly natural gas operations in Yuma County, for instance, or in Mesa County or Rio Blanco County. The second half of this amendment strikes the methane capture rules by the Air Quality Control Commission, and this one's pretty important because it also goes beyond the authority of the Air Quality Control Commission to promulgate this rule. Methane has absolutely nothing to do with air quality. And that's why the methane rule is beyond the authority of the commission. The only reason that I can come up with conceivable to force the capture of methane is to combat global warming, because methane is a greenhouse gas. But it has nothing to do at all with air quality. So the Air Quality Control Commission should not have promulgated a rule requiring the capture of methane gas from oil and gas operations, because it doesn't interfere with, it's a biogenic gas. It's naturally created. It's actually created in much greater quantities by livestock than it is oil and gas operations. So for that reason, both of these rules are beyond the authority of the Air Quality Control Commission, and I'll ask for an aye vote on this Committee of the Whole amendment, which strikes those rules.
Senator Stebbins.
Thank you, Madam President. And first, perhaps an apology to the amendment sponsor for moving the bill forward in your absence earlier today, because you didn't get a chance to do this while the bill was on second reading and being debated. Didn't know this was coming. I'm a member of the Committee on Legal Services, as is Senator Roberts, who also was part of moving this bill earlier, and we didn't know this was going to become an issue. Actually, we thought the rule review bill this year, mercifully, was very non-eventful. And I guess maybe this is its one little flare-up. I'm going to ask for a no vote on the amendment, and not because I want to have a debate about the substance and the merits of the issue, but really just out of process. One, this isn't something that's come before the Committee on Legal Services, and the reason for that is these rules were just adopted in February, less than 2 months ago. And so this is something that would be out of sequence, out of cycle for the process by which the Committee on Legal Services reviews rules of administrative rulemaking bodies. This rule will come up for review during the current year cycle. All rules promulgated through, I believe it's October 1 of this year, will be reviewed by the Committee on Legal Services later this year and early in 2015, and will be subject to extension in the 2015 legislative session through this rule review bill that's an annual bill from the Committee on Legal Services. This is premature and something we have not had an opportunity to review, and I think we should resist the motion to amend this into the bill at this stage, regardless of your position on the merits, just simply because it's not the procedure that we employ with this bill. So I'll respectfully ask for a no vote.
Senator Brophy.
Thank you, Madam President, and I will ask for a yes vote, and let me tell you why it comes up at this time. The Air Quality Control Commission rushed this bill through, and the implications of its being in place are utterly devastating to the economies of natural gas producing areas of the state of Colorado. This legislature won't have an opportunity to defend the economic interests of rural Colorado again until at this point next year, in which time we will have, instead of a mere 3 or 4 months of damage done to the economy of rural Colorado, we will have closer to 16 months worth of damage done to the economy of rural Colorado. And there is absolutely no reason for us to do that. We can stop them right now. This is a separation of powers issue. The legislative branch has the authority to stop rules promulgated by the executive branch, and we should do that in this case and defend the interests of rural Colorado. I ask for an aye vote.
Senator Lundberg.
Thank you, Madam President. I come down here to speak to the concerns that the senator from Denver expressed on whether or not we should support such an amendment, and he said, forget about what it's about, this just isn't in the sequence of the process. Well, with all due respect, that's utter nonsense. Utter nonsense. Because the process is this. These rules are subject to the approval of the Senate and the House. And to submit that because some other committee didn't have the opportunity to review that is utter nonsense, because it's our responsibility. Now, we need to face up to the implications of each and every one of these rules. This process of bringing it to the legislature for approval means, hang on, this is kind of complicated, it means that it's subject to the approval of the legislature. And if we are not afforded the opportunity to discuss the substance of it, then I submit there's only one answer for this bill, and that's to defeat it. Defeat the whole thing. If the Senate doesn't have the prerogative to actually address the specific issues within the bill, then the bill has become irrelevant to the process of what? I believe the senator from Ray has brought some significant and serious issues before us, and we need to face up to it. We need to address that. And if you want to vote it down because you believe that these rules and regulations are appropriate and have been put in place because they're good for the state of Colorado, then by all means vote against the amendment. But don't give me this nonsense that the process says we cannot consider amendments to this. I've heard this so many times down here on this, on our rubber stamp that we're supposed to give to regulations. And I'll have none of this, and I'll get pretty exercised over it, because the responsibility has been placed in the hands of the Senate and the House. And to assure us that don't worry about what's in the bill, just pass it. It's even beyond the we'll learn what's in it after we pass it. No, just keep your eyes closed and just pass it and ignore it afterwards. No, consider the amendment. And don't give me any nonsense about how we cannot consider it because the process isn't appropriate. Balderdash.
Senator Jones.
Thank you, Madam President. Members, I'd ask for a no vote. This rulemaking was exhaustive. Lots of people commented, lots of people took time to come to Denver, lots of people talked about these issues, and it was just concluded a few months ago. It also was supported by 3 of the biggest oil and gas companies in the state. They came to a compromise. They pushed it through, and they had a lot of comments. Madam President, I have people saying things in a well.
Members, if we could get your attention, we are debating a recorded vote on Committee of the Whole Amendment 1. Senator Jones, please proceed.
Thank you, Madam President. They considered cost in the rulemaking. They have to, cost-benefit analysis, and it was seen as a big trade-off. The other thing is ozone affects people with COPD, young people that are outside all the time. It hurts their respiratory system. And I got to tell you, I think people with suburban lungs and people with rural lungs all need protection. And they have ozone problems in Mesa County. This is a statewide issue. We need to protect the health while developing this resource in a responsible way, and that's exactly what this commission did. And we ought to respect their work and vote this amendment down. I ask for a no vote.
Senator Roberts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, this is deja vu all over again. I remember we had a situation like this a couple years ago. And as a member of Legislative Legal Services, I'm going to say that we need to remember what this rule review bill is about, which is, did the agency have the authority under the statute that we passed to issue rules? That's really the focus. It's not, do you like it or don't you like it? It is, did the agency have the authority to issue the rules under the statute? This was not discussed in Legislative Legal Services at all, so I can't tell you what we were advised by our attorneys, but I did want to bring up what the point of the Rural Review Bill is.
Any further discussion on Committee of the Whole Amendment 1? Senator Lundberg.
Thank you, Madam President, and I will just one more time deeply disagree with any notion that the Senate does not have the authority to make decisions on bills before them for not only the process, but the merits of the bill itself. And when it comes to rules and regulations that have been established, if they are outside of the bounds of good policy, then it is an embarrassment to actually support those rules. The process has not been exhaustive, because we're not done with it yet. This is the process. And the vote on this amendment is to vote on the merits of the amendment. And to suggest anything otherwise is to ignore the obvious. And that is, we are approving a set of rules. We have an amendment before this that says, except for these 2 points that are not appropriate. Now that's the merit. That's what you're voting on. The amendment to strike these 2 elements of the rules before us.
Senator Roberts.
Thank you. To clarify, based on what was just said, what I said was Legislative Legal Services was not able to receive an opinion, give us an opinion as members of the committee as to whether it exceeded the scope. I was not going to the merit or not. I was not saying that we have no role in this. I was clarifying for those who don't sit on Legislative Legal Services, this was not raised and we could not have the benefit of the attorneys who advised the committee. That's what I was saying.
The question is the adoption of Committee of the Whole Amendment 1. Are there any no votes? Senators Stedman, Ulibarri, Madam President Pro Tem, Senators Jones, Zenzinger, Newell, Aguilar, John, Toktrop, Roberts, Heath, Schwartz, Kerr, Nicholson, Johnston, Todd, Hodge. Please add the President. With 16 ayes, 18 noes, 0 absent, and 1 excused, Committee of the Whole Amendment 1 fails. The question before us is the adoption of the Committee of the Whole report. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, the question is its adoption. Are there any no votes? With 34 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, and 1 excused, the Committee of the Whole report is adopted. Senate Bill 168, Senate Bill 173, Senate Bill 174 is amended, Senate Bill 167 is amended, Senate Bill 166 is amended, Senate Bill 157 is amended, Senate Bill 150 is amended, Senate Bill 144 is amended, Senate Bill 127 is amended, Senate Bill 87 is amended, Senate Bill 2 is amended, Senate Bill 73 is amended, passed on second reading, ordered and grossed to place on the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1345 is amended, House Bill 1123 is amended, House Bill 1290 is amended, House Bill 1017 is amended, passed on second reading, ordered, revised, placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 133 is amended, Senate Bill 124, Senate Bill 5, Senate Bill 175 laid over until April 16th and retaining their place on the calendar. House Bill 1285 is amended, lost on second reading. Mr. Majority Leader.
Do House Amendment?
No.
I was going to lay it over to one second.
Mr. Majors, consideration of House amendments to Senate resolutions. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to Senate Joint Resolution 27?
Senate Joint Resolution 27 by Senators King and Newell and Representatives Exum and Scott concerning declaring the week of May 11th through 17th, 2014 as Police Week, and in connection therewith declaring May 15, 2014 as Peace Officers Memorial Day.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we lay over consideration of House amendments to Senate Joint Resolution 27 until April 22nd.
For the motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. We will lay over Senate Joint Resolution 27 until April 22nd. Consideration of governor's appointments, consent calendar. Mr. Majors, would you please read the appointments on the consent calendar?
Member of the Colorado Commission on Higher Education for a term expiring July 1st, 2017, Regina Marie Rodriguez of Denver, Colorado, a resident of the 7th Congressional District and a Democrat, reappointed. Members of the Colorado Traumatic Brain Injury Trust Fund Board for terms expiring June 30th, 2016, Catherine H. Johnston Brooks, Ph.D., ABPP of Broomfield, Colorado, appointed. Helen E. Morgan of Denver, Colorado, appointed. Member of the University of Colorado Hospital Authority Board of Directors from the 6th Congressional District, Denise O'Leary, for a term effective October 1st, 2013, and continuing until September 30th, 2017, or until her successor is appointed by the Board of Regents. This will be Ms. O'Leary's first term on the Hospital Authority Board of Directors.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for the confirmation of all the appointments on the consent calendar, which includes a member of the Colorado Commission on Higher Education, members of the Colorado Traumatic Brain Injury Trust Fund Board, and a member of the University of Colorado Hospital Authority Board of Directors.
Any discussion on any of the appointments on the consent calendar? Are there any no votes on any of the appointments on the consent calendar? With 34 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, and 1 excused, Regina Marie Rodriguez is confirmed to the Colorado Commission on Higher Education. With 34 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, and 1 excused, Catherine H. Johnston Brooks and Helen E. Morgan are confirmed to the Colorado Traumatic Brain Injury Trust Fund Board. With 34 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, and 1 excused, Denise O'Leary has been confirmed to the University of Colorado Hospital Authority Board of Directors.
Bill? So we're okay to do it?
Consideration of governor's appointments. Mr. Majors, would you please read the appointment to the Juvenile Parole Board?
Member of the Juvenile Parole Board for a term expiring November 15, 2018, David Owen Slay of Grand Junction, Colorado, to serve as a public member not employed by state government appointed.
Senator Guzman.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for the appointment of David Owen Slay to serve as a public member, non-employment by state government member of the Juvenile Parole Board.
Any discussion? Question is the confirmation of David Owen Slay. Are there any no votes? With 34 ayes, 0 no, 0 absent, and 1 excused, David Owen Slay is confirmed as a member of the Juvenile Parole Board. Mr. Majors, would you please read the appointments to the Great Outdoors Colorado Trust Fund?
Members of the State Board of the Great Outdoors Colorado Trust Fund for terms expiring April 15, 2017, Heather Lee Carroll of Colorado Springs, Colorado, a Democrat and resident of the 5th Congressional District, reappointed. Linda Jean Strand of Aurora, Colorado, Democrat and resident of the 6th Congressional District, appointed.
Senator Jones.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that we confirm Heather Lee Carroll and Linda Jean Strand to the Great Outdoors Colorado Trust Fund.
Any discussion? Question before the body is the confirmation of Heather Lee Carroll and Linda Jean Strand to the Great Outdoors Colorado Trust Fund. Are there any no votes? With 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, Heather Lee Carroll and Linda Jean Strand are confirmed to Great Outdoors Colorado Trust Fund. Mr. Majors, would you please read the appointment to the Renewable Energy Board of Directors?
Member of the Renewable Energy Authority Board of Directors for a term expiring July 1st, 2015, Jeffrey Paul Ackerman of Denver, Colorado, on occasion by the resignation of Tanuj T.J. Deora of Denver, Colorado, appointed.
Senator Schwartz.
And thank you, Madam President. I move for the appointment of Jeffrey Paul Ackerman of Denver, Colorado, as a member of the Renewable Energy Authority Board of Directors.
Any discussion? Question is the confirmation of Jeffrey Paul Ackerman to the Renewable Energy Authority Board of Directors. Are there any no votes? With 34 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 1 excused, Jeffrey Paul Ackerman is confirmed to the Renewable Energy Authority Board of Directors. The following change in bill sponsorship will occur. Senator Hodge will replace Senator Grantham as Senate Prime Sponsor on Senate Bill 192. Memorandum report from committees on delayed bills.
Memorandum report from the House and Senate Committees on Delayed Bills pursuant to Joint Rule 23C. The House and Senate Committees on Delayed Bills acting jointly extend the following deadline for House Bill 14-1298 concerning the financing of public schools. The Friday, April 18th deadline, the 101st legislative day for final passage, including any conference committee report for any bill prescribing or all or a substantial portion of the total funding for public schools pursuant to the Public School Finance Act of 1994, Article 54 of Title 22, Colorado Revised Statutes, is extended until Wednesday, May 7th, 2014, the 120th legislative day. This memorandum shall be printed in the Journal of each House as is required by said Joint Rule 23C.
Announcements. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. I think we had all the announcements this morning. Are there Senator Marble, Senator Toktroff?
Senator Marble and Toktroff.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. We just want to remind everybody that with the Senate Joint Resolution 29 being read on Thursday morning, it is to actually celebrate the economic impact of professional rodeo has on the state of Colorado. And we have a little surprise that was approved by leadership. We can
wear boots, jeans, and our Western clothes. Yeehaw.
Be ready. Yes, this Thursday morning, the resolution will be met, and pro-rodeo organizations from across the state will be here. Yes.
Yay. Senator Toktroff.
Thank you, and if you have a big belt buckle, wear your big belt buckle for the belt buckle bunnies. Thank you.
Senator Hodge.
Thank you. Appropriations Committees, we will add House Bill 1045 to our list for tomorrow morning, 7:30.
That was House Bill 1045. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. It has been a long day. Thanks, everybody, for hanging in there with us. So just to remind everybody, the plan for tomorrow is that we will convene at 9 o'clock as normal. We will do committees as normal, and then we will come back on the floor at approximately 5 p.m. It will be like today. We'll keep a listen to when the committees are, the last one is done, and try to reconvene shortly thereafter, but we're estimating around 5 p.m. And with that, Madam President, I would, excuse me, move the Senate adjourn till 9 a.m. Wednesday, April 16th.
You've heard the motion. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. The Senate will adjourn until 9 a.m. Wednesday, April 16th.